I'm about to have a call with a coach whose book of business is completely full. She's making more money than she knows what to do with. She has all of the free time that she's ever wanted, and she doesn't know what the next step in her career is. Let's get to it. What's the biggest problem in your business? How can I help you?
I'm the biggest problem in my business.
Aren't we all?
You can take me out of it, but yeah. It's mostly, I wouldn't say a fear of saying no, but I find it very hard to do that, which means I don't work systematically that as much as I could. And if I have a consultation with a new client, I do as much as I can to fit them in instead of saying I don't have time for them.
Okay.
For fear of telling them I don't have time, and then I don't actually have a system for keeping them on the line, like giving them something while they're waiting to see me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can always refer them further, but if I want to work with them in the future, I don't have a system to keep them, like to help them in the meantime, or to even know like when I can offer them a slot.
If I'm understanding your problem well, what you're describing is you have a lot of demand for your services. You're effectively overbooked, and you keep saying yes to people because you don't want to see them continue to deal with their problem. And if you say no to them, you don't have a way to keep them warm so that when a slot opens up for them on your calendar, you can take them as clients.
That's correct. And I also very rarely have slots opened up because once I start with clients, they rarely leave me.
Okay. Do you want your business to grow, or are you happy with the way your business is currently operating?
I would like grow. I'm not I'm happy with the income I'm making and the way it's rolling, but I want to improve it. Does that make sense?
Not totally. I need to what I'm asking you is this. There's the philosophy of business that I don't adhere to personally, that is grow, 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 grow. You should always be adding more money to your business. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. Like, that's one side of business. I don't believe that that's the only way to think about business. I think business is meant to afford us the life that we want to be able to live. And if we can do that without having to grow it, we can alleviate ourselves of all of the stress of feeling like I need to grow, 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 grow at all costs. So what you're describing to me is you'd like it to be a little bit better, not necessarily bigger. If it was better, what would it afford you in your life that you don't currently have?
I have everything I want. The problem is I don't feel like I have control to stop it from taking over again, like adding hours to my schedule to accommodate people I'm saying yes to, or falling back in the cycle of feeling insecure and like having too much, then having too little, then having too much.
Okay.
So to answer your question, like I'm happy with the way the business is right now. I don't need more money. I don't need more time, but I don't want to end up with less time because of the way I'm operating.
You have what I compassionately describe as bottom falling out syndrome.
Yes.
Bottom falling out syndrome means for a long time in your career, it was a slog. You were trying to figure out how and what you needed to do to get to exactly where you are now. You've been where you are now for less than a year, probably. And you're wondering when the bottom falls out and you have to start scraping again. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, more or less.
Well, what's the less?
I don't think I'm worried about the bottom, like falling out, like starting over with nothing,
right,
but of making choices that slowly lead to it disintegrating.
Okay, so first things first, we have to resolve two sides of this problem. Mm-hmm. The first side is, it sounds to me like your reality and your perceived reality are not aligned. Meaning your reality is you have too much demand for your services for you to be able to supply all of that demand. That's true, yes?
Yeah.
And simultaneously, you're worried that if a client were to cancel or travel for an extended period of time or whatever the case may be, that you might struggle to replace that client. Yes?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
I don't worry that I'll struggle to replace the client.
So where's the fear?
I'll worry that if I turn people away, then eventually they'll stop coming.
Right,
And
which would lead to
then
you.
I'll be worried about if I lose clients.
Yeah, well, I just went to the logical conclusion of where your thought process is.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the fear that 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, you haven't taken new clients, you haven't nurtured a list. You need 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you get them?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Okay.
But I know how I get those. Yeah.
But this is why we have
with
these
you.
this is why we have these conversations. How do you get them?
Yeah,
How would you get them?
Oh, the same way I get them now. I ask my clients who needs my help. I contact the people they're talking about. I'll ask curious questions when I get followers on Instagram. I'll ask curious questions to the people I follow on Instagram. I'll coach CrossFit classes where I'm coaching and ask questions of members.
Those all sound like good ways to do it. I have. So first of all, does that help you overcome some of that fear?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Now we have to resolve the boundary part, right? Because we still have to. We're not done.
No.
We still have to resolve the people are coming your way. You don't want them to be left without service, and you want people to keep coming your way.
Yeah, and when we take away the fear, it's more that I compassionately care about these people, and I don't want to leave them hanging.
So, do you have people that you have a high level of confidence referring to?
I have one person.
Okay, how far from full is that one person?
Right now, they have time. I don't know if they're going to be full when the fall season picks up, but right this moment, they have time.
Okay, so right now, you would feel confident referring to that person?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in a unique situation, and there's something I like to do when I find myself in a situation like yours. If you don't want to grow a business, meaning you don't want to employ other people, and it doesn't sound like you want that. It sounds like you enjoy the freedom of being yourself.
Yeah.
Act as if you had to require all the time and help other credible people fill their books of business. So for example, these people who are coming into you, they need help. You could provide that help. You know somebody else, you have a high level of confidence, could also provide that help. They might not be as good at acquiring clients, which is why they have the free time on their schedule that you don't. Solve everyone's problem. You become the person who solves everyone's problem by referring the person who came to you for help to this other person. You could build a financial arrangement there, or you could do it for free because you enjoy making the connection and keeping your skill set of acquiring clients sharp.
Well, that's a good point.
Which one?
Actually. Oh, I mean, all of it. It's also like, I say this to people, a rising tide lifts all ships. So if I send people to that person, they'll send people my way in the future as well.
They might not. But I
know they will, but that's a fair point.
So think of it this way. Even if they would, you might send them 10 to the one that they send you back. It's not going to be equal and opposite.
No, and it's not that I expect that either.
Right. So
I just believe that what you put out in the world, you end up getting back.
Well, I think that's important. I think that I refer people all the time to other companies when they come to work with Active Life. And I often will refer them to people who would be considered our competitors. And the reason why I do that is, well, there's a few reasons why I do that. One of the reasons I do that is because that person needs a kind of service that we don't provide, right? They want to work with us, but they're not in the financial ballpark to be able to do it. They're not mature enough in their career to be able to do it. They don't have the time to dedicate to being able to do it, whatever it would be. So I'll recommend them to somebody who runs a more cursory education that's also really good, that's less money, that takes less time, that requires less commitment. And my thought process is, I'm not waiting for that other person to refer someone back to me. I don't think they ever have. What I like to see is more good coaches.
Right.
If the ecosystem of coaches is elevated, the marketplace for coaches to make a living is also elevated.
Right.
So you start filling this other person's book of business. They get to the point of being full. You're back in the same situation you're in now. What do you do next?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. Why is there only one coach who you trust?
Because there's only one other active life professional anywhere near me, and he
Okay.
works in my gym.
So there's only one other person near you who's been through our program.
Yes, there are a few that are working through it, but I don't know
Right.
and know them enough to trust them.
Yep. Well, by the time that person's full, I imagine some of the other ones will have earned more of your trust, yeah?
I hope so.
Something that you could do if you enjoy doing it is getting everybody together.
Yeah.
Creating content together when you get together. You're the leader of that pack.
Yeah.
Lead them. Do it publicly.
Okay. That's also a good point. I forgot that I had started doing that.
Look, there's everything that you're doing with them, whether it's for somebody else who would want to enroll in our education or just another coach, they're going to be able to learn from it. And the more authority that you get, the better it is for everybody, because you're a credible resource for people who need your help. You're a credible resource for coaches who want to be more like you. And you want to continue to do this sustainably for a long period of time. So building your personal brand is of huge value to everybody in the market.
That's true.
I think that one of the issues that a lot of coaches run into, especially when they experience some success that they have been looking for a long time, is a little bit of imposter syndrome, which doesn't necessarily mean that you don't think that you're great or that you don't know what you can do. It could just mean, why would a bunch of other coaches follow my lead? I don't know if you have that or not, but if you do, the best way to overcome it is to lead them and let them show you why they would follow your lead. And the next best way is to document all of it so that other people can find you.
Yeah. That's something I hadn't thought of doing at all. Documenting things isn't really even on my radar, but it's a good point.
You don't have to. You can, like, one of the coolest burger places in my town here in Long Beach doesn't have a sign, doesn't have a menu. They just put a light on when they're open. They don't have a website. So you could be that for coaches if you wanted to lead other people and create a market where you feel much more confident making referrals.
Yeah. Actually, and I have an opportunity to do that, so that's a good point.
The leader rarely goes hungry. And not because you feed yourself first, but because you take care of everybody else. And when everybody else runs into a problem that they don't know how to solve, they're going to send it to you.
That's true. I think I've been running with the fear that, like, if I send everybody away, then who's going to remember that I'm here?
Everybody.
Yeah.
My most valuable friends and people in my network are the best connectors amongst our group. I went to an event a few years ago, and I ended up I wanted to connect people, so I rented a room at a high-end steakhouse, and I had to put down a $1,500 deposit, I think.
Wow.
And I didn't know how many people were going to come. So I rented a private room and I just told people that they were welcome to join us. And the biggest feedback that I got from doing that when 26 people showed up was nobody else could put this room together. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of other people could have put that room together. It was just that I was the one who chose to do it. And what was interesting about the event is the people who came all wanted to pay for their own dinner. Nobody wanted me to pay for it. And I ended up getting reimbursed more money than the dinner cost. So when you lead great people treat you really well.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's true. I think it's important to remember, because I think from past experience, and a lot of other people haven't experienced that. So it's a fear of becoming irrelevant.
Yeah, you'll be anything but.
Yeah.
The more you worry about yourself, the less other people worry about you. The more that you worry about other people, the more other people worry about you. The next evolution in your career is lifting other coaches.
Yeah, you're right. It's so funny because that's how I treat my clients. Why can't I do it for everybody else?
You can. It's just hard to see it when you're in it.
Yeah.
Was this helpful, Aaron?
Yeah, very. Thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to seeing you in London in October.
Yeah, me too.
We'll talk soon.